Welcome back to part 3. We're still continuing Ruth's story. Remember, she starts out as a village girl in some village whose name I have now forgotten, to being a librarian and going for her master's and coming back and having these amazing ideas about how to connect our books to community stories, because there's knowledge embedded there. And that enabling hand, Isis WICCE, where she worked to document stories of women, conflict, post-conflict situations, and starting all these amazing connections to healing our bodies, healing our minds, and economic empowerment. And then now we want to talk about Ruth as a leader. What is your proudest moment as a leader looking back over your arc of leadership? And what is that thing that tested Ruth as a leader?
I think first and foremost, I'm just proud to have been born by the people who bore me. Because my life as the eldest girl started, you just started as a leader. And that maybe nurtured me to an extent that when I came to Isis WICCE in particular, because leadership, as I told you, it went continuous. But one that really excited me was to have a group of staff who believed in me. For me, that is my best. Because when ISIS came to Africa, it had a crisis. And within 2 years, we were like closing because of the internal crisis that happened, which was nobody else's crisis, but it is a crisis of unpreparedness of different cultures. Being international, people came from Latin America. I mean, we worked with so many cultures, and it required to have time for you to know one another, to gel, to understand the do's and don'ts with Jackie and Ruth and whatever. So we went into that crisis. But the way I handled, when I took over from Millicent, the way I handled it, and I'm proud of it, is that I did not call myself, I'm a leader, and then you are my subordinate. I used the Isis WICCE model from creativity or establishment of the organization of leading as a collective. And for me, for any growth of leadership, it needs one to have that humility of knowing that we are leaders in our own rights in different places. So I saw it as the coordinators are leaders in their place. I'm a leader here, but there's so much that comes from me, from them, that makes me and them also. So for 2 years working with them, during that time when nobody knew that we were going through that big crisis after Millicent left, all donors went into the fence. But I'm proud that I listened. I'm proud that I didn't feel a weakling to consult. As we were walking, I told you, this whole thing, gender, I read it. I learned it on the job from the Constituent Assembly. So I consulted within and without. People like Maud Mugisha, at that time she was really doing this FOD staff, organizational development. And I sat with her. I told her, now really, for me, managing people, managing organization, I was taught to manage information. But it is not the same. Information doesn't talk. Where I take it is where it will go. But people are different. So she told me, you need to do this and this. I did it. We called in people, the Mosiki Saris, the Ronald Chitanda, all, it became, we turned ourselves to be a learning organization. And by doing that, I freely left myself naked to all my members of staff to tell them that, you know what, we are going to build this thing ourselves. I don't have the brain that you don't have, so let us do it together. And for me, when I sit back and watch, and I see even after leaving, you see that methodology is still being embraced by Helena and Juliet, who are still there. That's what makes me proud. That is what makes me, that's my aha moment. What tested me is exactly that. I was, this is the time when technology boom had started, 1990, 97. We as women organizations were now coming up with our women nets, trying to embrace how are we going to communicate our information through the net. So myself and some two ladies, Jenny Radroff and Marietta in South Africa, we thought about starting a women net, which is there up to today. So I had gone to South Africa to do my things which I know best. Little did I know that the board had been called in with the crisis I talked about, where different cultures, we come in, some know feminism, and their feminism is from the West. Others knew some little gender equality, and majority of us came from the mainstream. And others, this was their first job. So Millicent got a huge challenge. Sometimes how, this is the feminists want to do things their way. As a collective, I can be here and I'm invited to come to go for a workshop. It's a matter of, I write. I'll be coming. But you have an executive director. So instead of what Millicent knew of things go through hierarchy, you go and inform her that this is what, and then she looks at the resources, she looks at the time and whatever. These young ladies just wanted to go. So we were always having frictions. I remember the board one time coming, they went, but sometimes I don't get so engraved in what is going on if I'm doing my own thing. That's my weakness. I should have known that things were not doing very well. So I'm there. I go back into the room. I see so many missed calls. So it is my husband. They are calling you. You are not picking. But I didn't have a mobile. But they were calling in the hotel. And the hotel said, she's not picking. I was in class. So later on, they say you should come. I said, what is that? To tell you the truth sincerely, nobody will believe, but I had no clue. I go back, I come back, I find the board members. And Annie Walker was the first one to stand up, and Musindi Kanyoro. Ruth, we have been calling you and we don't get you, but now you are here. And I look at Millicent. She's not the Millicent I know. She's not smiling. So they say, yeah, we were waiting for you. You are going to take over this organization until we sort ourselves up. The first thing was, no. For me, I have never studied to be to be a leader in an NGO. What I know is my information. Then I saw Musimbi, who was that? And the Professor Mwaka was also there. I saw Musimbi's eyes. She's a calm woman, but that day, I didn't know all this week they have been going up and down with some donors coming in and whatever. Says, Ruth, if you don't want to take up this, we can lock the door now. And this organization can move to any other part of Africa. But imagine you'd have left all these colleagues of yours with no job. Then in my mind I said, oh my God, Mr. Kawasi told me that I just come and go, hey, and you had a piece at your elbow. You know, but look here, how do I begin? So, and Annie Walker is always the good one. She does it, she would do it under graphics. So she got up with her height, started drawing things and saying, Ruth, it is just as simple as that. But what we are going to do, you are going to do this with Jessica in partnership. You'll co-direct. And after 1 month, we shall make a decision. 1 year, we shall make a decision. So I just sat and said, it's okay. But in me, it wasn't okay. They take me to the office. They tell me, we have not formed any books here, any reports here. You'll see how you're going to start. When they got out and left, I remember everybody leaving. It was only Michael, the gate man, who was waiting for me to finish and go. I knelt down and I made a prayer. I said, God, if this is your will, it will be done. You know very well where my passion is, but I leave it to you. Guide me, protect me, and do whatever you feel I need to do. I remember very well, that was 1999. And wow, I arrived back home tired and had a list of things to do. I didn't know where to begin. I opened the drawers, the reports. You don't even know where to start. That's why I always echo those people like Maud Mukisha, whom I consulted and said, no, Ruth, you need now to do something different, like organizational development process. You need to rethink. The organization needs to get the African way of doing things. There are many things. You need to go through this process. That is one. Secondly, I reach the office and I read, Dear Madam, from Heinrich Böll Foundation, we would like to know why you have chased the ED without informing us. So could you come and explain? They are asking to the board. So I fax, those days you fax, I fax Musimpi Kanyuru? He says, yes. One of you go. I tell Jessica, you'll be the one to go. Because there's so much I need to do here. So Jessica says, okay. She gets into a flight. She goes to Germany. To cut the story short, Jessica comes back and says, Ruth, never send me there. And my Jessica, whom you know, will convince you in any way. She says, never send me there again. Kumbe, she knows they said, go back, think about it, and come back. So I go. They say, you come back, we want to make a decision now. Either we pull out the money or forever. So I go with my prayer. Said, God, you are the one going to speak, not me. I have no words. I arrive. This man was putting on, you know, this who put on glasses like this.
Yes, up to the down to the nose, tip of the nose.
And for him, he couldn't tell the difference between your Jessica and she's seeing the same person. So she says, so tell me this time, what is it that you are going to tell me? And I said, good morning, sir. It's okay, good morning. It's a good morning. I want to know who sent away the ED before. So I told him that this was a decision of the board. And I've been told the board, then he realized that I was different. What is your name? And there was Eritrean lady in the office called Askadesh. I didn't know why she told me, let's go. This time, we are not going to listen to that. So we sit. And she says, yeah. So why did you come? I said, yes, I'm the executive director. And the one who came, she's my co-director. So you think you are going to tell me anything better than the other one? Oh, Askadesh got up. They started short-waving in German. I said, thank you, Lord. At least I don't know. I don't know the language. They went back. So my God pushed their energy to be between them. I think she was telling him, she told me later on, no, things are not done like that. By the time the body decides to do what it does, it knows. It knows. And the board had written to them, say, we have been here on crisis meeting twice. So we have no option but to relieve Millicent to go, because there are many things that we realize we need to deal with. But but why did you not tell us? We wrote to you, but I said, but they wrote to you. This is the copy of the letter. So at the end of the day, he calmed down. Then we started talking. Then he told me, I'm giving you only 6 months. If I don't see any change, wow, then we are going to withdraw the money. And we thank God he didn't see the six months. When I came back, my team, which believed in me, which believed to work to beyond expectations. You know, our husbands would come and pack because we are finishing this, we are being asked this, we are writing this. I mean, for that 1 year, maybe God also gave us spouses who are kind and who believe in us, because it went on and on. By the time Heinrich Böll woke up to ask questions, I mean, they were bombarded with so many successes that instead they actually now decided to give us more money. That was my toughest moment.
And now, as we wind down these last few moments of our conversation together, you serve ISIS for 20 years and you finally leave.
Yes.
What was it like to prepare yourself, to prepare this team that had believed in you and the work that ISIS was doing? And then what advice would you have for leaders that are contemplating a season of leaving?
How I prepared myself was to give the board that in 2 years' time, I'll be leaving. And we even wrote a concept. We were able to prepare. The board was able to source who would come. Everything looked small. I did not worry about my team because surely this team was always working with me, and they knew the structures as they were. People needed to shift. Jessica had left, and it helped Harriet to come. So it was natural that someone has to leave. How I prepared them is that they had the power. My program officers managed their budgets. There is nothing that was kept secret from them. They were the senior management team. And when money came, we have $1 million. They knew what was given to who. And everybody knew my budget for the year is so much. So everybody kept tracking how she's utilizing her money. And that way, it also improved on their leadership, on how they would do it. In their small coordination, whatever, they were leading. Because they would just bring to say, this, my $400,000 this year, this is what I want to do. And would then all of us sit with their plans, and the finance officer also sits there and reminds us maybe the backlog, maybe the what, all those. So we discuss and have the organizational year plan. Now, these year plans are managed by them. It is only when they come, if they're asking something that they feel they needed my second thought. And also, if I went out there and I found something which I thought, this would work so well with the institute, I would call her and say, Harriet, I saw this, and I thought from your plan, if we did like that, it would really work. That's how all those issues came in. The peace exposition, the whatever, all those, it is learning from others and bringing them into there. So by the time I was leaving, these are people whom I had worked with for 20 years. They were also not moving. They would see jobs, but they would say, I'm not going to the unknown. So I was more worried about the leadership. If they are bringing in another person, will she get this culture? Will she be able to leave them to do the way they have been doing, and all of us confirming and affirming as a collective? Because my leadership picked one Geneva Valley work as a collective. So that one, I did not leave it. Although we came now and we put things in, we put systems, we started earning. Those ones were not earning. So it helped me to bond the group. And none of them would hide anything. And because I told them from the word go that, you see, we have entered this river together. I have no brain beyond yours. If there is anything I'm going to do and it is not auguring well with you, please just come and tell me. And yes, there was no that fear of, executive director, how do I go to tell her? that, but this one, I don't think I felt well. That was the only thing that made them trust me. Because they would come, of course the ego of an ED would be there, Isagiu, but I would recall to say, I'm the one who told them, come and tell me. So I would say, oh, okay, let me think about it. Then I would go back, of course, feeling very hungry. How can she come say all this? But then the sixth sense, the spirit in me would remind me, but that's what you told them. So it helped. The many years helped me also assess my weaknesses and be able to go to this one person and say, you know what, I am sorry. You are right, I didn't do. That word sorry for leaders, it becomes so difficult for us. Just to say sorry to a subordinate, it becomes so difficult. But as leaders, if you learn to say sorry and you really go back to these people and you say, you know why I behaved like that? It was because of ABC. That person also comes to understand. Because they knew Ruth is a workaholic. Ruth is a perfectionist. So don't think it was you. It was just the way you did it. It's not right. You just look at it. I'm sorry I shouted wise. I'm sorry I may have ignored you. But these things are needed. Explain. They are needed in time. So it's not that I just didn't like you. No, it's about professionalism. And usually it would be about professionalism. You find somebody just doing things to finish, but not really putting the whole her or him there. So, yes.
So you told you were bored 2 years before.
2 years before, we had a concept, we identified a person. Unfortunately, that person got a crisis. So she could not come in. So that again made me stay for another 1 year. So that they said no. I would have left in 2015. I left in 2016. So when now that was sorted out and Helen, they said, okay, Helen, now let's try you. We tried Ruth, let us also try you. Yeah. And the rest is history.
So what I hear you say to leaders who are contemplating this is to plan.
Oh, you have to plan. Yeah. You have to plan. You have also to look out, to sit with your board and identify the kind of person you are thinking of. It was a process. We even got a consultant to help us write this concept of transition. We did. And we had got the best, and the members of staff were like, yes, she's the one. She's the one. Yeah, but then it couldn't work out because of first.
So is when it doesn't, and as plans are, because we are human and it's happened to us. So also to plan, but to hold it lightly, knowing these may change.
Of course. And
sometimes they're sticking to it of no whether or no. This is where we are.
Oh, but there was no way you would do that to a human being who is having a human challenge. Yeah, but when that settled, I think, and Helen came in, she had worked with a team. We had all worked with Helen for about 6 years. She came in. She actually bonded in very easily.
Yes.
Like she's a Nigerian who would just laugh. She's a good soul.
And so finally, what are you doing now? How are you thriving this season?
The truth of the matter, I never stopped. I never stop. Keeping friends and networks is very important for a leader. When I stepped down, it's very important. When I stepped down, my colleagues out there started planning for me to go for a vacation, which I would never have managed to go.
I want your friends, please, Dizzy. Yeah.
Liz of Nobel. Liz of Nobel. You remember the Nobel women? It was an initiative. We had worked with her on a number of issues on the women of DRC. So she just called me and said, "Oh, Ruth, you are going to Aspen."
Wow.
Said, "What? To do that?" This time, no PowerPoint, no enough. You are just going to relax. Little did I know that she had written about my story, and Women Have Wings had recognized me in 2016. I didn't know. It was on the web. You say, "Oh, we don't read webs." Please start reading webs. I go to Aspen. I live, Aspen is a place of the rich. The conference they bring there who is who. They just told me 5 days, sleep in, go and listen to what they are talking about. But they knew the conference was on conflict and security. So they wanted me to listen to the mostly masculine way, which she knew I had struggled and fought for a very long time. Because I felt even all these resolutions are not for the women I have been talking about. Yes, there's something they do, but they really don't do what they should be doing for the women. So I sleep in this 5-star hotel, eat, drink my tea, which I like most, go and listen, feel angry of some of the statements they are making. And then she says, "But someone will come and pick you, and you go to Colorado." So I go to Colorado after the Spain conference. Elisa comes and picks me, the ED of Women Have Wings. So she says, "Oh, Ruth, we are going to drive from here so that you can see the mountains and valleys." Oh my goodness, like Chisoro. "And you're going to stay with me for 10 days just to relax." And we climbed mountains and whatever. I came back looking fresh. Then she hands me the recognition chain. She says, "Your story is amazing." I just felt I needed to see this woman. What kind of, when do you stop? How many hours were you talking about? I said, "Actually, I don't remember having any other life other than Isis."
True story, by the way.
Yeah. So what I did was she says, every morning we would walk to the mountains. Then she comes and prepare your breakfast. I'm going to my room to do my work. That's how we lived in that beautiful ball. But on 2 days before, I'm taking you to the university. They want you to go and give a speech. I gave a speech at the University of Colorado, and the leader there, she wrote a very good book on nonviolence activism. She said, "Why don't we why don't we package and document all these stories and maybe make a film?" These are the things I'm talking about. Make your own film, like the one of Prayed the Devil Back to Hell. You have so much. So I came, I told the WIPIC, there is opportunity of digitalizing our information and also seeing whether we could make a film out of our work. So later on, I met this woman called Patricia Cooper, and that was my 2 days before. And she tells me who she is, and she was in the UN. She left the UN. She talked about the idea she had, and she's doing it in South Asia of Women Regional Network for Peace Building. And I said, "I'm going to do that in East Africa." I came back. I called a few of my friends, the peace, at least Hope Chibutu, you called her what? Jaja, Lobu, Robina for Wipik, and some 5 Kenyans and some Karo Idembe. And that woman, Lisa, gave us the first money to go and interrogate what we want to do in Nairobi. We interrogated, we asked ourselves questions, we said what is it that we want to do different? And for me, it was very simple. Women's peace. Yes. Because the peace that I worked for 20 years is not women's peace. And the solutions for women's peace are with women. And since 2018, we have been doing it in a small way, just to have conversations here in Uganda, Eastern Uganda, in the north, in the Ngong Hills, and we have confirmed women must start having their own conversations. That's what I learned from Patricia Cooper. They must start having their own conversation on building, how they are going to build peace. And let us stop dreaming that the peace we are yearning for, that our nations are trying to bring to us, it will never reach us. It's the other way around. It's the women to start making conversations at their household levels, first at themselves, to have peace at their eyes, and then go into their house, and then community peace. And the women have solutions. We have seen them. And that is what is keeping me busy, as far as my angle is concerned. But when I left Isis WICCE, the women's movement selected me to be one of the 2021 eminent women for the women's situation room, which is also very passionate to me. It is about us making sure that there is peace before, during, and after elections. So as a senior people, we must galvanize ourselves and really support young people to start knowing that peace starts with them. And there is nothing we are going to earn if we don't have peace. And those are two things that, and of course, looking after my 8 grandchildren. Hence, Jajalus, the 10th Jajalus.
Wow, what an amazing story that still continues. And we celebrate you, Linkios. Thank you so much for your story and for the amazing way that passion that began. Let's listen to women. Let's tell their story, because indeed, like you say, they have the knowledge. And we can mobilize tools to support that knowledge.
By the way, in our women conversations are not about, we say peace starts with me, but how does it start with me? It starts by you helping me to heal me. And the healing, we talk about psychologists, and yes, we need those. But when you listen to these women in communities, just listening to her. I remember the woman in Luwero saying, "Oof, my chest is now lighter. There are some people who have come to talk to you." Just talking and affirming that person and telling that person, you know what? You can make it. Encouraging them. That is the only thing. There is no difference between Ruth Ochek, Lucy Nafla, and Lucy Ajambo in Namayigo. Those women have the break. They have the wisdom. I don't think Ruth Ocheng can live in the havoc these women are living in at the moment economically, but she'll wake up, look for food and feed her children. She has no soap. She knows that I can use pawpaws. I have seen them using pawpaw leaves to wash clothes and they get clean. I mean, they have cut raw pawpaws. They have boiled them. They have mashed them. Because these leaves of cassava, potatoes, I learned them in Liberia. We just throw around that. When I went, I also saw at hard times people are using cassava leaves as a sauce. And scientists say it is such a nutritious leaf. So all those are the knowledge that we need to pick from these people. We need to. But we are seated here. Kato banange President Museveni jango tuyambe. We are killing the resilience and the power of these people because we are not listening to them. We are not enabling them to heal the little things that are bothering them. You talk to her, she moves. Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah.
We will end it there. Thank you so much, Ruth. And I think for me, my takeaway as I leave here, listen.
Listen. That's the tactic I used. I listened. Even where I saw people were not doing the right thing, I listened and analyzed it, and at the end of the day, but when you listen, it doesn't mean that you are weak, no. You are actually very, very professional, very strong, and you aren't big. The other thing is listen and you show humility. Because I know my Ida was our person who helped us keep clean. Whenever she sees me up to today, Director Ruth, leave them to hug you. You are not a director, and people, when they see you, they go and hide. She would come and say, naye Director Ruth, okuva kumchato nava kunywako kukachai, kankulete kukachai. That's a clean. I mean, she's a human. You got an opportunity. God gave you the opportunity, which God didn't give her, but she has something.
Yes.
She's a woman who put up her own house. When we who are paying, who are earning more, had not even bought a piece of land. You see? She's a very good economist. She's a very good planner. In her little money, she said, you better come and see my small house. She educated her 2 children. So,
Listen.
listen.
And so we thank our listeners for listening to us. These 3 episodes, as Ruth told us her amazing story. And I know that you are picking up whatever you need to for your life to apply in your leadership and to apply when you start to think about that journey towards the end. Thank you so much, Ruth. Thank you so much, our listeners, for listening to us. Until next time when we bring you yet another guest for Footprints, goodbye.